Hello, Gemini. Thank you so much for being here. Polina talking to you about 2023 and your karmas. It's going to be a little bit of a rubbish thing sometimes for some of us Gemini people. It's going to be just, look, like, why am I doing this? Why am I sitting in line here? Why am I at this bus stop again? It's kind of trashy. There's going to be other people's words, other people's thoughts. There's going to be repetitive behavior, also reptile behavior, just being there for other people without really wanting to be there in the heart and the soul, just wanting to consume somebody else or somebody else's ideas, thoughts, and memories, not caring about yourself, So there's a little bit of that happening if you don't really like who you are. So like sometimes Gemini might be left behind. It's easy to get like stranded at a party where you don't want to be. It's very easy to be in a group of people that you don't like, or like, okay, like I'm living, I guess, in the city, I suppose, and I don't really like it. So trashiness, when you look around you and there's nothing, you feel like, oh my gosh, everything's gray. Like the street is just like, just dark and I don't have enough. So if you don't like that which you are in, great time to shift, great time to see me or another person for reading, great time to see a counselor or a therapist, beautiful time to work out of your home environment and your home line. If you have, for example, a certain type of degradation or degradation-based pattern, for example, you want to learn from the bad person, or you want to be stuck in a bad situation, if you have a habit like alcoholism that passes on through the family line and has been there for like centuries, generations, you have to start over. So like if you have a feeling or a fear like, I'm becoming my mother, I'm a dud, or I'm just broken, I'm just like, sit there, I'm going to get left behind, all of that stuff, you have to look at your genetic line, you have to get formal with yourself, and you have to start thinking and talking and feeling and imagining your life differently and acting on a different level as well. So without sugarcoating things too much, I think that certain Geminis might feel out of shape, they might get stuck somewhere, they might feel pretentious about what they really need and what they want. And that requires time to reconnect. If you've had a lot of bad behavior like drunkenness or like fights or parties or sensuality with the wrong people or neglect or self-abuse or self-harm or self-abundance in the past, self-abandoning in the past, or if your family have been in that situation and they have unknowingly kind of repeated or revised those situations again and again, and if they tried so hard to be those people and they don't want to let go of their status in society, they want to continue judging each other or themselves, or they want to continue making money a bad way, or if you are feeling like there's like something of a hereditary illness or a mental illness that is recurring, we have to get you on board with some really fine people. Yeah, so we have to get you together with some very good people. Here is where you might actually need a life coach. Here's might be a good time where you need somebody like a lifesaver. You have to have some kind of mind management by another person to help you through. So you have to find a positivity agent. You have to find vitamins, minerals. It's more about human behavior during a rabbit year, and it's about groups, and it's about conglomerates, and it's about staying safe together. And I understand that might be very annoying for some, and you might look at me or anybody else who practices certain things like yoga or like say consciousness or mindful, meditation, conscious like mindfulness, sorry, and also drink certain like plants or practices certain healing modalities, and you might say you're a weirdo, or like, oh, you're a weirdo. Why are you doing this? That's a drug. You can't take a drug. For example, I just had that happen recently. Not being accused of being this or that, or being accused of being a hippie, or like whatever. But you see, you have to find somebody who is doing it right, and it's hard to sometimes notice who it is. And there are lots of people with fancy cars and with media marketing and psychosis, but just look at them like as to who they're becoming as people. And that's very hard for a Gemini unless you can afford to do that, because I do understand there is like a certain type of emotionality or a repression in the world during a year like this. and it's been building up for a couple of years. So not every Gemini is free and safe and fine enough to look a person in the face. Sometimes they judge them by things. It's like, oh, is that a ring? Like, what's it made of? Oh, did you color your hair? Or is that your natural hair color? So like sometimes Geminis will go towards the shallow end of things, and they want the shallow result. It's like, what kind of car do you drive? What kind of home do you have? What kind of money are you making? What kind of like partner do you have? What do they do for a job? So it's not very important for me today because, I'm working outside of that territory. I've never actually been inside of that territory. It's just that I know that it happens. And most of mass media and most of what is going on in the world and on the street is probably just that. Like, what kind of shoe are you wearing? Like, where are you going? Like, how are you presenting? Or like, how do you self-respect? So I think that has to close down. So trash culture and trash talk, you have to evolve out of it and find yourself really good people. So people that are actually biologically healthy. Yeah. So like people that are actually like speaking the truth, people that have many friends, people that have good contacts, people that have many homes. It's sometimes not what you know, but who you know in a rabbit year. It's definitely going to pay you off if you have many rabbits, many people, many people, just friends, making you places, making you spaces. And yeah, polyamory is possible in such a year. It's a very, very infinitely curious and collective year. Yeah, so I also understand that. And sneaking behind each other's back is something that sometimes happens in a rabbit year. But it's not like that. It's not about that. It's actually just about getting to know other people that have another option for you and another type of life, and also to move on very, very fast through those very people. And I know that might sound like it's not a very nice thing to say, but we have to evolve, So, like, say, after the negative thinking patterns and staying at home and watching TV, you go out and you go to a party. Great. You don't need to go to the party every day. Just go to the party and then the next party, and then you meet somebody and you go fishing together. Fantastic. And then you go fishing and you understand that it's hard work, and maybe you don't want to do it. Maybe you want to like sit there, talk to them, have a cup of tea. Turns out the person is very sad. Oh, okay. So you got to do something else. Don't just stop there. Maybe somebody else talks to you from like a different part of your life, and then they invite you, I don't know, to the gym, or like they invite you to go for a walk with them somewhere. Lengthy walks are really good, and then okay, you find that really boring. Okay, fine, you come back to your house, you watch TV, but don't go back to the previous borough. You don't necessarily have to come back to the previous borough and you're like, CNN or whatever, like favorite channels. It would be good not to walk behind other people for too long. So it's not like, okay, I met a guy and he's the one. It's not like that. It's going to be so it's just unneeded. There's just so much stuff you don't need this year. It's like, I met the guy that was the funniest guy at the party, and then turns out that he's not very courteous, he's not very open. Okay, I'm not going to sit there and wait for him to get open. I'm just going to walk around, do something else. I don't have to get in bed with this guy. That's the thing. I don't have to make a family with this guy. I can walk about and find many different people. So the worst thing is just trashy personality and trash talk, and wanting to be somehow submitted to the group or the gang, and being kind of mean to oneself or being mean to one's own outcome, because they're built in, like they're built in systems. It's like, in this part of the world, we all get drunk at the bar. Like, come to the bar, get drunk. That's just what we're doing, So like there needs to be a no mess, no fuss way to walk past and through biology, many different people and many, maybe even countries for some people, or ways of life, to find a true diamond version of you. So that's like, okay, past that, past that, past that. That's left behind. That's not interesting. No, 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 no. It's not like being a heartless person. So it's not like that. This gets heartless sometimes. Like, say, you end up in bed with somebody you just had to have a drink with. You make a relationship without need. You burden yourself with their information, with their life story. Then you can't leave. And that gets super aggressive with you. Like, that person doesn't want you to go. And then you're like, I've overpromised or I've overdone. And like on a professional level, it's like you keep on committing to work that you don't necessarily have to do. You know, so the thing is to walk past it. It's like, ah, this is just a labyrinth. It is kind of like a labyrinth. So it's just like a whole bunch of people. There's a whole bunch of ideas. There's a whole bunch of ways to raise your serotonin levels, basically. And eventually you don't have to be there. So the worst case scenario is sticking back and just waiting for things to get better where they're not going to be better. It's just like you're sitting on the street. There's just like a messy, scary street, and you think, oh, when is this going to be nice? You know, it's like you're living in a place where it's like raining all the time, and you're asking, when is the sunshine gonna come? It's like it's just not. So being kind of a diamond in the rough is why sometimes really bad things happen, because there is like, it's kind of like a reactive quality to almost any Gemini, and there's a will inside, a willpower that's like, right, I need to change my life, you know. And sometimes really big things can happen, and big climaxes can occur, like climatic situations, which you don't necessarily have to go through. So the worst case scenario is being full of hot air and having to huff and puff through this year. So if you are stuck with somebody, I'm really sorry. You know, like for example, if you don't have an income and you have to live with a person that's like a mother, you know, your mother, or treats you like a mother, that's really hard. And then like to walk out of that, you have to get strong. You have to build up, find a good in it, or you have to let go. And then don't just stay there because it's comfortable or because you thought once you would experience it. The best type of Gemini during this time is an explorative one, you know, that kind of just like, oh, okay, what was cool? Like every party, it's like, ah, who are like the most interesting people at this party? And then you get to know them, and then you go with them somewhere. Ah, that was weird. Close the door. Don't judge anybody. Don't speculate. It's like go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next person. It's like if you're a door-to-door salesman, or if you are very fresh in an industry, it's just like going through things very quickly and keeping things bouncy. So it's not necessarily all about that. It's not all just about being a knife that is slicing through realities. It's not necessarily all about that. It is also, it is though as well, it is also going to be very, very hard, I think, for some Geminis to come to terms with where you have been all your life. And that sometimes is a good thing. It's like, wow, all my life I thought that I would enjoy this, or I thought this would be the greatest thing in my life, or all my life I thought this is the only way I could live. And it turns out that there are a lot more open doors or spectrums for you or presented to you. It just took you so long to recognize how to wheel yourself out of the previous self-disguise, or out of the previous obsessions or patterns or jealousy or observation of other people, or like junk collecting, trash collecting, or trash cultures. So if you're holding on to a lot, if you have a lot of memorabilia at your house, if you like to listen to the stories way too long, if you have a lot of culture, you don't want to let go of it, and you think that's just the way, that's just the way. It's like I collect 90s t-shirts or something, that's just the way. Try to wake up. Also, anything disposable, if you want. I mean, this is no history lesson channel. Maybe I should have had one. Could go through all of these different cause and effects of how society has evolved and what people have become over time, and also the personalities that people have adopted and readopted and reinstated throughout the years, and all of these different like punk culture and rock culture and I don't know, rockabilly, hillbilly culture, any culture. Basically undress it and stop trying to seek unconscious self-demise by medicating yourself with cultural products or groups. You know, it's like, oh, this is the only Frankfurter that I will ever eat, or like I will always wear this Metallica t-shirt. So like the thing basically is to walk out of disposability. So also where we are as people, if you look at mass media, what is happening in the world, and most of it we don't know about, we will never know. A lot of what is going on in the world we'll never know about. It'll be hidden during a rabbit year, most of it anyway. And some people might get a glimpse or get a feeling or a fright or like a sense, but they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to be able to. So the worst case scenario is that you are one of those unlucky people that's swept underneath, or that is like under certain global events, not even knowing how to walk your way out, how to work it out. And the worst case scenario is that some people will be kind of on purpose put into very uncomfortable places. And the worst case scenario is that you might be one of those people. So the best thing to do is to walk out of anything you don't want to keep. Try to go to the basics. You know, if you have a look at my humanity channel and also in my plant medicine channel, I talk a lot about, like, say, healing your body and mind, so you just don't glitch up, you don't get evolve through certain things that are just not needed for you. So you don't get obsessed about somebody who's not going to be there for you. You don't get enticed into somebody's drama. You don't just sit there listening to somebody who's just crying all the time. You're not making yourself a friend of a friend who just doesn't need you around. You basically don't become disposable and act disposable, you know, wearing disposable things, like talking about disposable things, making friends that are not going to stay. And the whole thing and the feeling is to be real and to get to the diamond state fast. So it's like, I will only learn from the best, you know, I will respect myself, I love who I am, you know. I want to be well, or I want to be guided away from where just crazy stuff happen. And it's very important also for me to say, during the times that we're going through, I already talked about this a while back, it's good to just stay out of police, you know, crowds, protests, you know, people doing things that are very hairy and very like ravenous, screaming and yelling at other people, and walking out of any territory that basically deems you like disposable, you know, just being like a barcode eventually at the end of the day. And then starting things anew, like say, okay, learn about patterns energetically, like water is water, wood is wood, you know, stone is stone, and plastic, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. It's only been around, like, how long has it been around? How long has this planet been around? How long have we been on this planet? And then how long has plastic been around? No, I'm not going to go there. You know, if I have to choose anything, I will choose that which will keep me sustainable and keep me going and keep me healthy. Like, for example, what am I going to eat? What did my ancestors eat? What is this, a cheeseburger? What is inside the cheeseburger? What is inside it? I don't know. It's like, don't eat it then. You know, so it's like walking out of chaos, because as nature has it so far, like humans have evolved to a state of chaos. And yeah, we have to basically walk ourselves out of chaotic and neurologically stupid things. And eventually you'll get to know yourself so much better. It's like, I'm a diamond, you know. I, for example, sleep in a bed made of natural fiber. You know, I wear natural cotton. You know, like I put organic substances into my body or on my skin. You know, I'm part of natural, normal, comfortable people. You know, I'm doing things that are normal and associative. You know, I'm doing things, sure, the long way, like say knitting your own sweater instead of buying a polyester sweater, you know, but I am making time, and through that I'm sculpting myself. So it's more like getting away from aggressive behavior and aggressive people and walking towards that nice, simple, steady, wholesome, good, well-rounded, real world. And then eventually a lot of it will go away, a lot of it will disappear. A lot of it will just like, it will just leave. And that has to do with people and behaviors and obsessions and addictions. It'll just go. Like, if you can stature yourself in a very nice, simple, and no non-neurotic way, and if you can be away from this medley, like this kind of like smorgasbord of just whatever, and just basically get down to the basics. You know, appreciate things like, this is a very well knitted jersey. That's a very well cooked home meal. Like, try to get to that. And especially if you're somebody who in your generations have had drunkenness and debauchery and abuse or like negligence, it'll all come out during this time. And it's just important to wheel yourself in and then go with a direct consciousness that has to do with that, which is natural, nurturing, and organic. Thank you very much. And yes, I have a little message at the end of the video. Please have a look. If you'd like more insights on this year to come, please check out my Almanac for 2023. It has all the information for all the signs. And it is available in Kindle book form and physical book form as well. And also, if you like, have a look at my Patreon with all the details for every sign, for every month, and day-to-day prognosis. And yes, my website, of course, where you can read more about me, and if you like, you can get a booking as well. And yes, I do year ahead readings, which are very popular every year. And here's my retreat website. If you're curious about coming to see me in Peru, then yes, of course, please like and subscribe. Thank you.